This lesson's on reflections. A reflection is when a figure is flipped over a line. The most common reflections are ones over axes. So if you reflect over an x-axis, the rule is the original point xy becomes x negative y. So notice the axis that I'm flipping over, that value stays the same and the other one becomes the opposite. Let's look at the y-axis. Again, with the y-axis, this one, xy becomes negative x y. So notice that that one becomes the opposite with the y value. So the rule on reflecting over an axis is whichever axis you are reflecting over, that value becomes or stays the same, the other one becomes its opposite. So we're going to look at a couple of examples here, and then we're going to do a couple problems from this, then you'll have your assignment. This first example, it says we want to reflect this triangle over the x-axis. So since it's the x-axis, the rule that we have is the x values stay the same. So I'm going to go ahead and write down the letters for our new values. We've got a prime. We put a little apostrophe after it to show that it's after we've done a transformation from it. If you do multiple transformations, you put multiple apostrophes. We will have b prime for the actual image of b after it's moved, and then we'll have c prime. So because we follow this rule, we know that the first values stay the same. So we got 2, 3, and 1. The second value becomes its opposite. Right? Positive 3 becomes negative 3. Positive 1 becomes negative 1. And positive 2 becomes negative 2. Now all we have to do is graph those points. So for a prime, we go right 2, down 4, and when we get this one, right 2, down 4 is this point here, and we're going to label that with a with an apostrophe after it. B prime, we go right 3, down 1, and we're going to put a B with an apostrophe. And then for C prime, we go right 1, down 2. There is C prime. We're then going to connect those 3 dots, and there is our new shape. All right, now we're going to do the same thing for example 2, but this time we're going to reflect over the y-axis. So in this case, all the y values will stay the same, but the x's will become the opposite. So m goes to m prime, so that negative 5 becomes a positive 5. Negative 3 stays negative 3. For a, we get a prime, the negative 2 becomes a positive 2, and the negative 3 stays negative 3. For t, we go to t prime, negative 2 becomes a positive 2, and that negative 5 stays negative 5. Then for h, we go to h prime, and then that gives us negative 5 becoming positive 5. Negative 5 stays negative 5, and there's our point. Now we have to graph these points. We count right 5 and down 3. There is m prime. Right 2, down 3 is a prime. Right 2, down 5 is t prime. And right 5, down 5 is h prime. Alright, we then connect these 4 dots. We did our reflection. Now, from here, we now are going to talk about the properties. So notice on both these shapes, the figure, the pre-image, which is the first one, and then the image, which is the one that is after we've done the transformation, all end up looking the same. They're the same size, same shape, so they are congruent to each other. The corresponding angles are congruent because the figures are congruent, and then the corresponding sides are congruent because the figures are congruent. Now we're going to look at a couple of practice problems, and then you will have an assignment to do over this work. So practice 1, we've got to graph the image, or graph and label the pre-image and reflect it over the y-axis. We're going to reflect over the y-axis. Let's go ahead and just graph the original image though. So we've got A at 3, 4. So we go right 3, up 4. And I'm going to wait to put my letters on this because I don't know exactly how this shape's going to turn out. B is at 0, 5. So I start off, don't go left or right any, but I go up 5. And there's B. And I'm not going to put the letters on there yet because I don't know exactly how this shape's going to look. C is at 1, 1. We go right 1, up 1, and we put there. So now that we have this, we're going to connect these 3 dots. And now that I know what this shape looks like, I'm going to go back to actually writing in the letters. So this one was A, this one is B, and this one is C. So there's our original shape. Now we need to make this into its new shape. So for our new shape, we go ahead and change the color on this. We get A prime, B prime, and C prime. Since it's the y-axis, the y stayed the same, and the x becomes its opposite. So A becomes -3, +4. B is 0 because -0 is still 0, and then 5. And C is at -1, +1. So now we're going to graph these points. We go left 3, up 4, and there is A. Three up 4. There's A prime. Okay. Then 0, 5 is B prime. It's on the same spot that B is at. Notice that it is on the y-axis. That's why it does not change. And we go left 1, up 1. There is C prime. Then just connect these 3 dots. And notice we just did the reflection over the y-axis. Now let's look at number 2. Where this time we're going to reflect this over the x-axis. So let's graph the original one. -3, -1. I'm not going to letter it yet. +2, -4. And then -5, -6. Now that I have those 3, I'll connect the dots. Try that now. I'm connecting the dots. Okay, and labeling the points. So here's E, F, and G. And now we're going to work with the reflection. So we get E prime, F prime, and G prime. Again, it's the x-axis, so the x stays the same, the y becomes the opposite. We still have -3, but that -1 becomes +1. We still have 2, but that -4 becomes +4, and we still have -5, but that -6 becomes +6. Alright, now to graph these, left 1 up 3, E prime, right 2 up 4, F prime, and then left 5 up 6, G prime. Connect these dots, and there's our graph. Alright, so for your assignment, you will have this homework page to work on. So it's transformations, homeworks 1, reflections. I will have an option about doing this using a Google form to do it all online, or what you could also do is do it with the actual paperwork that you have. All right, good luck, and see y'all tomorrow for transformations or translations.